All right. What if the biggest crypto company is secretly becoming the world's most powerful bank? Here on our news from Times Tabloid, it says Teucrium CEO, how XRP could make Ripple join the world's top 10 banks. Now, imagine waking up to see Ripple listed right alongside JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and HSBC as one of the top 10 largest financial institutions on earth. It sounds like wild science fiction, right? But what if I told you that the blueprint for this exact scenario has already been set in motion? And it all hinges on the massive pile of XRP currently locked away in escrow. We are looking at some incredibly explosive data that just dropped from a recent podcast interview. The CEO of Teucrium Sal Gilbertie put forward a mind blowing thesis on how Ripple's massive token reserves could catapult them into the global banking elite. This isn't just about the price of a token going up because of retail hype. This is about a structural, institutional power on a scale that the crypto world has never seen before. So, this discussion has completely set the XRP community on fire, sparking intense debate about what Ripple's true endgame really is. Are they trying to lift up retail holders, or are they building a corporate monopoly using the community's backing? We need to unpack this. We need to unpack this piece by piece, looking at the real numbers, the regulatory filings, and the massive shift happening behind closed doors right now, this June 2026. Right? But before we continue, let's check XRP's current price, which is now playing at 1.1769. All right, and as we can see here on our daily chart time frame, XRP back in June 2 has broken our major support right here at 1.2234. And then yesterday, it has followed, or it has formed a confirmation breakout, which says or clearly states that this major support at 1.2234 is completely broken. So for the futures traders or derivatives traders, this is a clean breakout, which gave us a signal to enter a short entry position. Right? So this previous support is now acting as a major resistance right now. Based on my own personal analysis, it seems that the bearish pressure or bearish momentum is still very strong. So I believe XRP will continue to move downward until it hits our next major support right here at 1.0169, or exactly $1. This is likely to happen if the bearish momentum will continue, right? But as we can see, XRP is not the only one experiencing a downtrend. I think the entire crypto market is also experiencing a downward trend direction. The entire crypto market is in red. As we can see here on our list, the percentage change is all red. Although there are only a few that is in green color, but the majority of the coins are in red. All right, Bitcoin right here, as we can see, has also formed several bearish candlestick in these previous days, and I can see that it has a very strong bearish selling pressure as well. But right now, the current support, which is preventing Bitcoin from dropping down further, is our major support right here at 61,324. All right, now let's go back to our news. And right, the core of Sal Gilbertie's argument right here comes down to one massive asset on Ripple's balance sheet. All right, their escrow holdings, which are estimated to be around 35 to 40 billion XRP tokens. In the traditional financial world, a bank's power and ranking are determined by its Tier 1 capital, basically how much solid reserve asset wealth it holds to back up its operation. Gilbertie pointed out that if Ripple continues to hold this gargantuan supply of XRP on its balance sheet while transitioning into a licensed banking entity, a price of just $3 per XRP instantly makes them a top 20 capitalized bank globally. If the price goes even higher, they easily slide into the top 10. So in my opinion, as a market observer, this completely changes how we could calculate the long-term value of this ecosystem. For years, critics have viewed Ripple's escrow releases as a negative dumping mechanism that suppresses price. But if you shift your perspective and look at it through a corporate banking lens, that escrow isn't a dump. It's a massive, unprecedented treasure chest of capital reserves. If a firm can achieve top 10 global banking status at just a $3 valuation, it tells me that Ripple has a vested interest in eventually seeing the asset highly valued, because a higher asset price directly translates to corporate geopolitical power. They aren't trying to destroy the token. They are hoarding the ultimate liquidity tool. All right. Now, is Ripple's hunt for a Federal Reserve master account the ultimate Trojan horse? So let's highlight this part. This banking empire theory isn't just a hypothetical thought experiment. It is back up by concrete legal and regulatory steps that Ripple has taken over the past year. Back in 2025, right, the company officially applied for a national trust bank charter with the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, also known as the OCC, and began aggressively pursuing a Federal Reserve master account. Right? Regulators even granted conditional approval for the Ripple National Trust Bank. So in my opinion, this is the smoking gun that proves Sal Gilbertie's theory has legs. You don't apply for a federal trust charter and a Fed master account unless you intend to clear and settle transactions directly inside the central banking architecture. So to me, Ripple is executing a classic Trojan horse strategy. They built a decentralized ledger to appeal to the tech world, but their ultimate destination is to become the infrastructure of the centralized banking system itself. So by operating as a federally supervised trust bank, they get the ultimate stamp of legitimacy, meaning they can legally hold and move trillions of dollars using their native digital reserves without asking for permission from anyone. All right. Now, are retail investors safely boarding a rocket or funding a monopoly? Naturally, this concept of Ripple becoming mega bank has caused a massive divide among market participants. On one side, enthusiasts have calculated, right? And enthusiasts have calculated that if XRP reaches a milestone like $25, Ripple's capital reserves would balloon to a staggering $1 trillion market capitalization, instantly eclipsing almost every traditional bank in existence. However, some community members are raising serious red flags, arguing that Ripple is essentially using retail buy pressure to fund their corporate balance sheet and establish an unbreakable financial monopoly. So in my opinion, I completely understand both sides of this coin, but my view lends towards pragmatic optimism. Is Ripple building an incredibly powerful corporate entity? Absolutely. But in the grand scheme of global finance, you cannot displace centuries old banking cartels by being small and weak. You have to build an absolute titan. If Ripple becomes a top 10 global bank, the utility driven demand for the underlying token becomes completely institutionalized. Even if their corporate balance sheet grows exponentially, the sheer volume of capital flowing through the ledger means that the retail holders stand to benefit from the massive tide of institutional liquidity. It's an allied relationship, not a predatory one. So, what is the true destiny of the escrowed capital? As the community debates continue, prominent legal voices like attorney Bill Morgan have stepped in to keep the focus on the exact numbers, reminding everyone that the current escrow supply sits closer to 35 billion tokens. All right, so let's highlight this part. Currently holds around 35 billion tokens. Furthermore, key market analysts have pointed out that a massive portion of these tokens isn't just sitting idle. They are already actively earmarked for institutional liquidity initiatives and major banking partnerships worldwide. So in my opinion, that the exact number being 35 billion instead of 40 billion doesn't change the underlying math of this macro trend. The key takeaway here is the velocity of allocation. Over the coming months, we are going to see an acceleration of these escrow tokens being integrated into global banking pipelines. Ripple isn't holding the supply to keep it locked away forever. They are distributing it to the very institutions that will run the future global financial grid. When you connect the dots between the conditional OCC approval, the shrinking escrow supply, and the massive Tier 1 capital potential, it becomes clear that we are witnessing the birth of a entirely new breed of financial institution. All right. Overall, the insights shared by Sal Gilbertie reveal that the true scope of this digital asset extends far beyond simple retail trading charts. We are looking at a calculated institutional play where a technology company is successfully transitioning into a federally supervised banking powerhouse. By leveraging a massive multi-billion token capital reserve, securing a conditional national trust bank charter, and positioning itself to provide institutional liquidity, Ripple is building a foundation that could realistically position it among the top 10 banks globally. While the debates regarding corporate monopoly will undoubtedly continue, the underlying structural momentum indicates that the future of this network will be driven by deep institutional integration and massive sovereign level capital allocation. Alright, and this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching and see you on the next one, or you might as well just check this recommended video right here.